All right, since it is, I guess after 11:30, which is our start time, I'm gonna start going through the uh, preamble and kind of the rules. Policies, looks like we're still waiting for a couple members of our design review committee to show up so that we have quorum. I was informed that at least one of them won't be able to make it and one will be late. So hopefully others can show up while I'm reading through the policies and procedures and everything. So it looks like we have one of our applicants here. So this is the March 21st, 2024 meeting of the Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee. Go over the virtual meeting regulations and procedures. The meeting shall be conducted according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by roll call vote. Recusal due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the start of any presentation. Committee members will then leave the meeting for the duration of the case discussion. No presentation submissions will be accepted after the deadline. The chair will call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call of the committee. The administrator will introduce the first project and provide some background information if applicable. The meeting will then be turned over to the applicant to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the committee. Once the presentation has concluded, the administrator will read any received comments. The committee will then begin deliberations and project review. Please use the raised hand feature if you'd like to speak. After deliberations and review concludes, the committee will render its recommendation and vote. After the vote, the applicants may leave the meeting and the administrator will introduce the next project. All projects will follow the same format until all projects have been heard by the committee. Once all projects are heard, the chair will call for any committee or administrative reports. And after all reports have been heard, the chair will adjourn the meeting. Regarding community comments, any and all community members may provide their written comments, thoughts, or questions regarding the projects presented to the committee for review and approval. Community members may also telephone their comments or questions to the committee administrator. All comments, thoughts, questions must be submitted to the committee administrator no later than 48 hours prior to the start of the meeting. Again, we have their email address, phone number, and then physical address listed. Public comment or submissions made after the deadline will not be heard by the committee. Public comment will be collected by Landmark staff and sent to the committee members for review prior to the scheduled meeting. Staff will then summarize the received comments during the meeting. The applicant of the project is under no obligation to answer any community questions. Community members are invited to attend the design review meetings, but there will be no open public comment period. Just as a reminder, we're reviewing all projects for their adherence to the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. They are all seeking a certificate of appropriateness. They're considered on a case-by-case basis, and the Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee is advisory to the Cleveland Landmarks Commission, so recommendations by this committee are not final actions. Depending on the scope of the project, submissions may be approved administratively or will need to be reviewed by the Cleveland Landmarks Commission. Projects will be scheduled at the next available commission meeting after an action is taken. So with that, looks like we've just got two committee members here. We need at least two more for quorum. I know one of them will be here hopefully within 10 minutes. I'm not sure about others. So I'm thinking maybe it makes sense since first applicant doesn't appear to be here either. Maybe we jump into the salon lofts and let the applicant kind of, because this was, I guess, had been previously tabled. So we kind of let her update us on, what changes have been made, what else she has to present. And then hopefully by the time she gets through some of that, we'll have quorum. We can call the meeting officially to order and, then final questions on that or action can be taken on that, which is now does. Looks like we have quorum now. So sorry it took so long to get there. Nia, would you be willing to act as chair, as I don't see Doug here? Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind calling the meeting to order and then calling for roll, I'll go through that and we can get rolling.
Okay, we will officially call the Thursday, March 21st Ohio City Design Review meeting to order. Can you call the roll, Dan?
Sure. Flaherty, Frondorf, Lamb, Marinucci,
Here.
Persons,
Here.
Tally,
Here.
and Wall. Madam Chair, it appears we do have quorum. So I guess for anyone who missed, it looks like our first applicant is not here, but the second one is present. This project was tabled previously, so we will need a motion to untable and then we can let the applicant get through her presentation.
Motion to untable.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Frondorf? Ms. Marinucci?
Yes.
Mr. Persons?
Yes.
And Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right. Madam Chair, the motion passes. So, Melania, I'll pass it off to you. I have your slideshow up on the screen, so just let me know when you want me to proceed to the next slide.
Hi. Liliana with Agile Sign. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, so do you just want me to reiterate what was spoke about in the previous meeting?
Yeah, probably a quick summary and then any changes or sort of responses to what was brought up at the previous meeting would be helpful.
Okay. The first slide is just showing you where the three signs are located on the building elevations. Next slide. These are two of the signs that are being proposed to be installed on the east elevation. Set of raceway mounted channel letters attached to a raceway and then a blade sign on the pillar. Next slide. These are just fabrication drawings showing mounting points, LEDs, attachment, all that good stuff. Next slide. This is on the circular logo, showing mounting holes, LEDs. Next. Just another side view of the blade sign showing the LEDs placed on both sides. Next. This is the third sign. No, wrong one. Do the next one. There we go. There's the third sign. Flush mount channel letter with the logo. And then next slide. Fabrication drawings, LEDs, mounting points. Next slide. Looks like I screwed those up. This is a update to the last meeting. The landlord has provided this showing that he has allowed another tenant, Pioneer, to install a blade sign where I guess a sconce was. The next slide also shows his letters being just to show where that customer is located. I don't believe there's any more slides, correct? No. Okay. I do have an update to the questions that you guys had asked me. One of them was to identify the power access for the illuminated signs. There is power existing, which is landlord controlled. The signage power will be looped into that circuit, and the sign will be drawing off the power that currently supplies the existing uplighting sconces in that location. So that's where we intend to connect power to. There is power behind there that we will be connecting to the sconces. The question also spoke about the raceway size adjustment. And according to the manufacturer, this is the standard size. 7 inches is made so that it holds all the low voltage power and power supplies within that raceway. And then I'm also waiting on the landlord to provide a letter in writing showing that he does agree to the removal of the sconce and the installation of the blade sign. In an effort to get this approved for both the landlord and the signage. Salon loft. Sorry. And I believe that's all I've got.
All right, and Madam Chair, before the committee gets into questions, comments, all that, would it be helpful for me to go over kind of the brief notes I have from our last meeting? Although it seems like Alana covered most of them, but want me to go
Yeah,
ahead?
please do.
So there was questions about the mounting height for the projecting sign. There were some concerns mentioned about removing the light fixture and replacing it with the projecting sign. And then there were questions regarding the size of the raceway and if it could be smaller or minimized in some way. And then there were also just questions about how the power was being brought to the sign, which it sounds like it will be wired in into the existing electric that powers the light fixture they're proposing to replace. And I guess my only concern about that is I think by code, signage is supposed to be on its own circuit. So I don't know how that would work with the additional lights, or if there's if there's conduit, they can just sort of toss another line in or separate that from the others. But just wanted to bring that up as something that might be an issue, but more of a building and housing issue than our issue.
Noted.
Thank you, Dan. I think my only comment or thought on the blade sign is that Pioneer's blade sign is on like an interior kind of courtyard. I don't know if that's, I don't feel strongly about it. I'm fine with it, but just noting that is, I think, a different, it's an interior courtyard versus on the street, kind of street facing. If anyone has thoughts on that.
I don't have any thoughts kind of one way or the other. I know Pioneer's on the inside, but I mean, this is a new building. Bladeside's on a new building. It really doesn't make a difference to me. And then it sounded like you said, I'm just kind of repeating. So the sign is wired into the same circuit as the sconce, not its own. It doesn't have its own J box out there. Because I don't know, maybe I was misinterpreting because I wasn't sure if that was something you said. That said, that too is also not very important to me, how you're wiring it. There's just not, as long as there's not like conduit along the face of the building, which it doesn't sound like there is, because you have that raceway behind the sign.
Oh, it almost sounds like Phil's ready to make a motion.
I think that's the point. If somebody else has something to say, say it now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, I would make a motion to approve as is.
I'll second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
You know.
good. Fixed it. I second.
All right, are we, I guess, any other questions, comments, concerns, or are you ready for me to move along with roll call?
Call the roll, Dan.
Flaherty? All right, I can hear you. All right. Thank you. Frondorf,
Yes.
Arnucci,
Yes.
Parsons,
Yes.
and Taylor.
Yes.
Right. Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously. So Lonnie, I guess you've been approved as presented, so we'll be in touch. But I don't recall if you have a permit pending or not. If you do, I can sign off on it. If not, yeah, I'll email. We can discuss next steps.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And is our other applicant present?
Don't believe so. His name is Philip Ancolio. My Italian is not what it used to be.
So no owner, no.
Don't see. Yeah, I believe he came in, or yeah, he came into the office the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, presented himself as the owner. We chatted for a bit. I outlined what he would need to present. He outlined kind of what he wanted to do to the building. I tried to give him some advice. And
Expectations.
Dan, out of just out of curiosity, did you mention that vinyl is generally disfavored?
I did, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
I
figured you would,
mentioned-
but it's just that they've clad this entire thing in it, so.
Yeah, and Jessica just reminded me he confirmed yesterday that he would be here because he couldn't find the link and then found it and then a previous email, so emails back. But yeah, let me know that vinyl was probably not approved or was not looked on favorably, and that you guys couldn't think of the last time you approved vinyl.
Do we want to give him a few more minutes or do we want to adjourn?
That is up to you. I mean, the meeting started at 11:30. He was first on the agenda.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's reasonable, but I will leave that up to you guys.
I mean, I'm flexible. I can hang for a few minutes if we want to do that, but I understood if others want to move on.
I think 20 minutes is more than generous. I'm ready to move on.
Agreed.
All right. Looks like we have about 17 seconds until the 20 minutes. So that is all we have for today.
Okay.
All
I
right.
can add something real quick. We already have at least one project on the anticipated agenda for the next meeting, the first meeting in April. So heads up on that.
I'm sorry, Jessica, what did you say?
So we already have at least one project on the agenda for next meeting on
Okay.
April 4th.
I'll actually be sending something your way for an April agenda item
Oh, that's-
shortly, by the end of the week, hopefully. Okay, well, do we want to formally adjourn the meeting?
I guess real quick before we do, I just remember one more thing. 4003 Franklin, the one that wanted to do the board and batten hardy siding on the front. You guys, wanted them to simplify it. Recommended denial. It went to the Landmarks Commission. It was denied. Part of the problem again being that the presentation was
understand
just incoherent. So staff offered to go out and meet with the applicant to, take a look at the building in person, meet with the contractor, kind of get a better idea of what they were proposing. They have come up with, they're a better presentation, but the scope of work really hasn't changed. So they've asked to come back to the Landmarks Commission. I didn't think there was any benefit in then coming back to you guys because I think you guys had a better understanding of what they were proposing. When they went to the commission, it was the owner was trying to explain it, and it was even less clear than when you guys saw it, which was also confusing. So just as a heads up, that's going to the Landmarks Commission next week. And I would just explain that you guys denied it based on the, previous presentation, and it hasn't come back to you. So hoping there are no serious objections to, just figured it was the same scope of work. You guys had seen it and already put in your input, so no need to drag it through again.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's all.
Fine with me.
Yep, works for me too.
Okay,
All right.
let's formally adjourn today's design review meeting.
All right.
Done.
Thank you all very much. This, I mean, this
Dan, I
this may
do-
be a record.
I do have a question though. I don't know if